find him charming?
Well, in a kind of reptilian way. I mean, charming in the sense that his whole life is devoted to winning people over.
Yes.
Kind of like Bill Clinton was. And I think he's good at it. But I also think someone said to me the other day, Newsom could pass a lie detector test on saying anything. Like there's a coldness inside that
he's
allows
a sociopath. I think he's a snake oil salesman. I think he's a liar. And I think that he destroyed the state of California. Full stop.
Gavin Newsom walked in expecting calm. Anna Kasparian turned it into a roast.
He brought a water gun to a flamethrower fight.
The grin vanished, the hair was flying, and the meltdown was real.
What did Anna say?
Stick around for the political demolition.
A little over a week now, California Governor Gavin Newsom has been posting in the style of President Donald Trump. And he's getting a lot of admiration for it. So he's basically engaging in this trolling campaign, and he's been very successful with it on X. Many of those posts have actually racked up tens of thousands of likes. And look, it does play well in the paradigm of left versus right. When you see politics as team sports and nothing more than tribal politics.
Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe. You don't want to miss this. Gavin Newsom walked in thinking he was the smartest guy in the room. Then Anna Kasparian showed up with receipts, sarcasm, and verbal dynamite. The California golden boy turned Governor Perfect hair got roasted, and it did not end well.
In Los Angeles, I'm not gonna leave and just allow the most extreme elements of the left destroy the state, okay? So I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna make it better. I think LA and California in general still has a lot of potential, but there have been some policies implemented that have been disastrous. So Gavin Newsom and the current Democratic legislature in the state of California have engaged in this trend of decriminalizing everything and refusing to regulate things. So I'll give you some examples. One of the things that they decriminalize but refuse to regulate is prostitution.
So why was Gavin in the hot seat? Truth is, he never leaves it. He runs California like a rehearsal stage for his bigger ambitions. Every move screams, 2028, here I come. But while he's perfecting the presidential wave and the I feel your pain face, back home things are far from flawless.
Want your side to own the other side, troll the other side, to own the libs, to own the right. That's what this feeds into. It has nothing to do with substance. It has nothing to do with how much of a circus California has been under the leadership of Gavin Newsom. It has everything to do with getting brownie points for trolling the other side. So with that in mind, he wrote the following recently. So Governor Newsom press office on X, that's the account that we're talking about, began posting in the same type of tone that you would expect from Donald Trump, all caps, you get the picture, let's take a look.
Homelessness exploding, housing costs higher than Snoop on a Saturday, and blackouts turning California into a bargain bin summer camp. Yet Gavin slips past accountability like he's coated in Teflon, grin, buzzword, sprinkle of equity, and the crowd claps.
But not Anna.
She showed up as the political mythbuster, ready to shred the hologram he hides behind.
Car's gonna get broken into, okay? You're gonna get robbed.
Nope.
Using taxpayer money, funneling it to nonprofits so they can literally buy crack pipes and hand them out at Skid Row. There is video evidence of that. Paying incredibly high taxes that go to what? So yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, just experiencing what I've seen on the ground in California has made me question a lot about left-wing ideology.
No.
Look, I would take
her over it. It's horrible that we have to do that.
I could never vote for Newsom. I just can't. I would just say that his leadership in California is good reason to brush him off.
The best part? Gavin's reaction. Expecting applause, he got roasted by his own reflection. The smirk, the nod, it all slipped like a kid on a water slide. Anna didn't let up. Every buzzword crushed, every promise shredded. Newsom's confidence balloon popped, and the man who once brushed off scandals and lockdown dinners suddenly looked less polished and more like cheap paint peeling under pressure. Anna wasn't just taking down Gavin, she was tearing apart the illusion that slick lines can hide real failures. That's why it hit so hard.
2014, voters in California overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure to support building more reservoirs in the state in order to bulk up our water infrastructure because we live in a drought-prone state. That passed in 2014. Funding was attached to it. You want to know how many reservoirs have been built since 2014? Zero. This state is an utter joke because of the people who are governing it. Gavin Newsom right now is at the top of that list.
By the end, Gavin looked less like the future of the Democratic Party and more like a kid bluffing through class without homework.
Anna? She walked off like the teacher who knew every move ahead.
And people noticed. Clips spread faster than a California wildfire. Viewers bored of Gavin's talking points were suddenly wide awake, replaying Anna's takedown like a viral meme. That's the danger. Criticism becomes entertainment, and once the crowd laughs at you, it's game over. Gavin strutted in like his reflection deserved applause, but Anna peeled him layer by layer, exposing what he didn't want seen. First stop, California's housing crisis. Gavin calls it progress, but the state looks more like the world's most expensive campsite.
This is what I was surprised about. I did not expect Donald Trump to flip 10 counties in California from blue to red. But I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about that either. Because when you look at the conditions people are living in a Democrat-controlled state, well, yeah, you can understand why people are turning backs on the Democratic Party. You can understand why people are frustrated at the corruption, at the loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless, when homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccounted for.
Anna didn't need charts. She painted the picture herself. $1 million shacks, sky-high rent, and neighbors moving into tents. Brutal. Gavin tried the sympathetic nod, smooth a sipping act, but Anna shoved receipts in his face. Then came homelessness, his favorite talking point shredded like tissue. The hits kept landing. Rolling blackouts in the so-called tech capital, billionaires building rockets while Californians can't keep the lights on.
And finally, the hypocrisy bomb.
That fancy lockdown dinner while Californians ate boxed mac and cheese.
Gavin thought people forgot.
Anna reminded them.
And we realized then, after the fact, what the hell are we doing shutting down the beaches and open areas and, and not understanding that early on. And so I think that of all issues, looking back, I remember Florida, there was a big issue too, even there.
He's so cool and relatable in his genes. And between Cuomo and Newsom, these are actually two really good examples of people who represent the Democratic Party establishment who have not fully reckoned with their unpopularity during the COVID crisis and are now sort of trying to be, as powerful as they were before without, maybe actually even being seriously introspective as opposed to whatever the hell that was.
You're absolutely right, okay, in your analysis. And let me just say, you know that I like you when I'm willing to sit through a podcast episode featuring Gavin Newsom just to prepare for this. Okay, because I can't stand him. I can't stand his raspy voice. And it's not for any superficial.
Anna didn't need exaggeration. Just one reminder of Gavin's lockdown dinner and the double standard spoke for itself.
The gasp, then the laughter, said it all.
Nothing's funnier than the guy preaching rules while breaking them in style. From there, Gavin looked like a student arguing with the teacher who already has the gradebook. He threw out buzzwords, equity, resilience, transformational change, but Anna smacked each one back like a ping-pong ball to his forehead. The man who usually coasts on style was suddenly forced to face substance. His answers shrank, his smile tightened, his confidence cracked. Anna only got sharper, cutting through the nonsense with ease, and clearly enjoying every second.
Many of you who watch The Young Turks regularly have probably noticed by now that I have deep disdain for the state's governor, Gavin Newsom. Now, Gavin Newsom has a long list of issues that I would love to share with you in great detail. And as a result, I'm thinking about doing a recurring segment explaining to you why it is that I have this disdain for Governor Newsom. Today, I want to focus on what I would argue is one of the most egregious actions Newsom has taken to protect private utility companies that have sparked deadly fire.
The funniest part? Gavin didn't even realize how bad it was until it ended. He walked out faking confidence, but the internet had already crowned Anna the winner. His stammers, awkward smiles, and failed comebacks went viral, while Anna was hailed as the one who popped his balloon. This wasn't just a takedown, it was an expose. Gavin's polished persona got stripped to reveal the messy reality underneath. People can forgive mistakes, even scandals, but once you're reduced to a meme, it's over. By the end, the governor with presidential dreams looked flattened by a rhetorical freight train, while Anna didn't just win, she annihilated. And the real damage? Gavin's brand. Because Newsom isn't just a politician, he's a marketing campaign in a suit.
Oh, I'm sure he really does find it funny. He's not bothered by it at all. You just heard the bitter statements of Snake, who unfortunately serves as the governor of California. Some like to refer to him as Gavin Newsom. I like to refer to him as a smarmy failure of a politician out of the state that I was born and raised in. Nonetheless, Gavin Newsom was fighting hard to be the guy who stepped in to replace Joe Biden if he dropped out of the race, of course. And now some are noticing, look, he's not really doing the type of campaigning for Kamala Harris that he was doing for Joe Biden. What's going on here?
Tore through Gavin's polished package like Christmas gift wrap and exposed the flimsy toy inside. The internet pounced. His awkward smiles and stammering turned into memes within hours. One viral clip dubbed him Governor Buffering, looping his long pauses like a glitching video game. Another plastered his grin with the caption, "When the homework excuse doesn't work on the teacher." Brutal and hilarious. But that's the point. Gavin's always relied on image to carry him, rarely facing someone who calls his bluff. News outlets called it a rare moment where he lost control of the narrative. And Anna? She didn't just slam policy, she embodied the frustration Californians live with: soaring costs, blackouts, homelessness. She gave voice to the disconnect, and people recognized it instantly.
Gloss on Governor Newsom, I want to tell you what he's really about. Now, nearly 5 years ago, California suffered the deadliest and most destructive fire in the state's history when Pacific Gas and Electric's 97-year-old equipment failed and sparked the Camp Fire. The blaze began on November 8th, 2018 in Northern California's Butte County, which rapidly drove the fire downhill through developed communities, causing the deaths of 85 people, the injuries of dozens of firefighters, and the destruction of 18,000 structures.
Gavin tried to recover: statements, achievements, long-term plans, the usual spin. But the damage was done. No press release could erase the image of him fumbling through buzzwords while Anna dismantled his act. It was like trying to unburn toast. Impossible. Anna walked away the people's champ, saying what so many think but few dare. In one exchange, Gavin went from untouchable to exposed, and Anna from respected voice to cultural moment. And the real kicker? People started re-examining Gavin's record. This wasn't just a takedown. It sparked a bigger conversation.
Was engaging in that campaigning not for Joe Biden's sake, but in order to increase his name recognition in case he found himself in a situation where he'd be tapped to replace Joe Biden after he drops. Now, Newsom went from campaigning hard for Biden to barely campaigning at all on behalf of Kamala Harris, so much so that Democratic operatives are now questioning whether his role as a national surrogate for Harris is really something they can lean on. They're questioning
if Gavin can't handle Anna Kasparian pressing him on California, how could he survive a presidential race? His slick persona crumbled under one sharp critique: what happens on a national stage with ruthless opponents? Anna exposed more than his weaknesses. She exposed the hollowness of political image-making. Watching Gavin spin was like wallpapering a crumbling wall. Meanwhile, Anna didn't gloat. She didn't have to. The mirror she held up to California spoke for itself. And the reflection? Brutal. Because no charisma or branding can hide the reality people live every day.
a native Angelino. I was born and raised in California. I love my state. I love the people in the state. But it is absolute wasteland right now. Every freeway bridge is full of people living in tents. There's excrement on sidewalks. It's unsafe. Crime has gone up. And when it comes to coronavirus, I mean, the fish rots from the head down. Let me just mention that while Americans are encouraged to shelter in place, encouraged to practice social distancing, no eating indoors at restaurants, you know, he's seen at the French Laundry meeting up with his lobbyist buddies. That is unacceptable.
Once the image shatters, it's almost impossible to fix. Gavin can polish, repackage, spin, but people will remember the night Anna Kasparian turned him into a punchline. The memes, the awkward smiles, the failed comebacks, it's all burned in. For once, Mr. Untouchable looked very touchable. And Anna? She didn't just gain bragging rights, she gained credibility, respect, and a growing fan base. She exposed the cracks, proved image can't replace reality, and showed that once the mask slips in politics, it never fits the same again. For Gavin, it slipped in the funniest way possible.